Hey, Dr. Kimberly, it says we're live.
It does.
In one of those corners.
I am so enjoying our new technology. Look at this. We got a ticker tape like we're seeing in news.
We have a ticker tape, and today we're laughing doubly so because the ticker tape was just updated. Yeah. So for those expecting Carson from Hunt to Heal, he sends his apology and regrets, but we will have him on soon. He just couldn't make it today.
The zombies got him.
I know the zombies did, and Dr. Kimberly, we talk about this, but we're going to have to start doing some remotes because their lodge is just beyond gorgeous. It's camping, glamping, Hunt to Heal Lodge. Just beautiful, accessible, and so it's going to be awesome, for people with disabilities that want to hunt, awesome opportunities. But it's a long way off the road, so if the zombies got Carson, I don't know if he'd be able to get word out to ask for help. So for today, we're just hoping something came up. We'll double check with him about the zombies, and we'll have Carson Hunt to Heal soon, because there's specialized hunts that are upcoming before standard hunting season, and I don't understand it. All I know is if you want to, Carson wants to help.
Absolutely. And I guess we could have put his information up there, but we'll definitely get it out so people can get the app, because there is an application process in order for you to do that, because the trips are all sponsored.
Yes.
But as you can see by the ticker tape, it's Let's Talk About It Tuesday. So we're talking about these mask mandates and a bunch of other little mayhem. But as many of you know, the FDA has now approved the Pfizer vaccine. It's full-fledged now. We're out of the emergency state. It's here to stay. It's real. And, people are upset now because guess what? Children are now the leader in getting the COVID-19, the Delta variant. Yeah. So I'm going to ask today, many of you know that Pastor Dave, he has several hats that he wears. Today, he's kind of sitting in the office as the executive director of Disability Advocates of Kent County. But we're going to ask him to switch his hats. Let's see. Do I have a hat here? All right. So we're going to get a different hat. And we want the Kent County Commissioner, Dave. So spin around in your chair so he can come out. Do something. There we go. Well, hello. Our guest today is Dave Bukowski. He is the Kent County Commissioner. And what's your district, Dave?
16.
So
City of Grand Rapids, East Town, East Hills. What's it called? Over through Creston, all the way through Richmond Park.
Wow. So what are your constituents saying as it relates to getting vaccinated and having to wear a mask? Because, wow. We're watching the news and I'm looking at all of these states that are red. They're ready to shut back down because of this Delta variant. And so as the county commissioner, what are your constituents saying?
It's interesting because over the past 3 weeks, there's been just a massive switch. So I believe it was last either Thursday or Friday, Dr. Adam London, who is the health officer for Kent County. He's in charge of our health department. He's been on our show a couple times. Dr. Carla Black, who's one of the epidemiologists that's part of his team, has been on the show. Pat Draper, others from the Kent County Health Department, just doing fantastic work. They've done fantastic work beforehand, but for the 18 months of the pandemic, They've been doing great stuff. Don't mind that person dropping off a file folder on my table. So they were saying, please, please, please implore Dr. London to institute a mask mandate because, the CDC highly recommends it. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services highly recommends it. And before last Thursday, our health department did as well and said each school district's going to have to make up its own mind. However, and so again, people said, please implore them for an across-the-board mandate because, from my perspective, I'm not a scientist. However, if we all did something together, I think it would have better impact than, and this is not to toot my own horn, but last week, Tuesday, at the Kent County Commission meeting, I was the only commissioner wearing a mask. And I didn't make a big deal out of it. I just, here at Disability Advocates, we now have a mask mandate. So putting that, hat back on, I'm like, we just have to do it, And so then anyways, Dr. London said, yes, let's put the mask mandate in from K through 6th grade because those children are too young to get the vaccine. And so it does not prevent COVID, it lessens it. Nothing's 100%. And so since he declared that, I've gotten a number of emails, some of them pretty harsh, saying, fire him, how dare he, you're violating my constitutional rights. And, and then somebody first said, Dr. Kimberly, somebody said, well, the kids who are dying are only kids with underlying health conditions. And I just want to hit my hand against my head and say,
like this?
Exactly. So you don't care about those kids? You don't care. It's like this idea of, for the vast majority of people of all ages, COVID is not a rough ride. For a lot of people, it's a rough ride. For some people, it's going to be a lifetime ride. And for some people, unfortunately, they died. And this idea, though, if we can slow it down, let's do that. And we slow it down by getting vaccinated for that so-called herd immunity. And we wear our masks. Right. And I've gotten tons of emails telling me that masks aren't 100%. It's like, I understand that masks are not 100%, but even if they're 1%, what's the hassle to me? And masks are 70 or 80% effective in spreading the virus. So again, it helps in a great manner. And then somebody had the audacity, they said, well, the flu in many years kills more people than COVID. I don't think that's a true statistic. And even if it were a true statistic.
It's not now, though. They said in 2020, they could count probably, the percentage was so low. And they said they didn't know how many years that they did not have people dying from the flu or an influx of those coming in related to the flu, because guess what? People were washing their hands. They were using, look at their hand sanitizer and
a little bit of a mask.
They were masking up.
And people like in other countries, we're going to pick on Japan since, the whole world was just there for the Olympics.
Yes.
In Japan, in cold and flu season, people throw masks on just to be safe.
They do.
You put on your boots to walk through the snow. You put on a coat to stay warm. You slap a mask on. A, it warms the air up before it gets in your lungs. B, it prevents, not eliminates, but prevents a lot of cases of cold and flu. And it's like, I don't understand. And I'm looking forward to hopefully some positive conversations that why do they think this is a constitutional right? That somehow that, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which I thought was in the Declaration of Independence, not the Constitution, but that it's this idea of what I do, if it has an impact on other people, how do we come together as a community and make these decisions? Because why have speed limits? And even better than speed limits, Dr. Kimberly, I challenge you and Stanley and Purple to put up a billboard in your front yard. Because a billboard sounds like First Amendment. You'd say 100 Shades of Disability, serving our community. That would be an awesome billboard in your front yard. I'd bet plenty of dollars that Byron Township's going to come knock on your door within hours, if not minutes, to eliminate that billboard, because most jurisdictions have extremely harsh and extremely well policed, not from a guns and sirens police, but just a very well regulated process for signage. I mean, the number of times I've accidentally, heard presentations at township boards, we go around asking for small things like increased public transportation, increased affordable housing, and there'll be somebody else on the agenda talking about a business. And it was there's this one a couple of years ago, it was a 1-hour conversation about how many square feet of signage could they have on this building. And because it was a corner lot, they were going to be able to sneak in a lot more through the loopholes. And this poor guy who was trying to build this building was like, I promise I won't. I'll only have one sign, not the two that I could have. Isn't that a constitutional right? First Amendment, freedom of speech?
That's it.
But,
people say, they have the saying, it's not how you start out, but it's how you end that matters. Because everyone might have a bad story of how they started out, but hey, we can look at Tyler Perry. Oh, I started out doing plays and sleeping in my car, and staying in the studio. But look at him now. I mean, The Walking Dead with zombies. Yes, they film on his location. But I would beg to differ. I think that with some things, it is how you start out. And I believe that while we were in backstage, I love this StreamYard. I don't know about anybody else. It tells you are backstage. You will have to, wait until you get let to be out here on center stage. So I love it. So as we were backstage and having the conversation, we talked about how you just saw Trump and he said, hey, you people need to get vaccinated, and how they booed him. So I think that says a lot. That those who are leaders and have the ability to influence, you have to really, 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 really be careful with your words, because if people are listening and you have the power of influence, are you using your powers for good? Or are you using them for evil? I just got off a conversation where someone thought they had some powers and they wanted to use them for evil. But guess what? Good kind of came in there, swooped in and was like, whoop, we got this. And I'm just really sad that even after all of the death that we have witnessed, that only in America, where we have so much quote unquote freedom, that we can't look over to China. I looked at them when they told them this is what COVID-19 is, this is what we're going to do about it. They can't even leave the house unless they're vaccinated. They can't leave the house unless they have a mask. And everybody is abiding by it. There is nobody with all those people that can rise up. Nobody has stormed their capital. No one has come there with guns to kill their governors or any of their leaders. They have said, oh, this is what's required of us. This is what we're going to do. And it's been shut down, and they've done extremely well. They got right on it. Folks got vaccinated. If they didn't want to, guess what? You don't get to come out of the house. And so we would rather see our friends and neighbors and loved ones. I just talked to someone today who said they had 2 of their sons that died within 12 hours of each other from COVID. And that just happened a week ago. I don't understand it. I just don't.
It's, and part of it is, Dr. Kimberly, another thing in the news recently that I don't know, I'm just going to say, it continues to hit me too hard. But, our withdrawal from Afghanistan and what we done or not done to the Afghanistan people, what we've done to the men and women who went over there and served, many who made that ultimate sacrifice with their lives, many who made near ultimate sacrifices with lifelong disabilities that they've acquired. But part of it is, I saw a headline that said, this is what the American people wanted. We never were all in. We sent how many hundreds of thousands of men and women to Iraq and Afghanistan. And again, I'm not saying was that the right or wrong thing to do. I'm saying that when we got there, how many people were really in, other than the families that had a loved one over there? So they spent probably sleepless nights. I could imagine if one of my sons or my daughter were in active duty and they were in Afghanistan, my wife wouldn't have slept for the year of deployment. She doesn't sleep now when they take a trip to Saginaw but I mentioned my son's in a band. But anyways, that this idea of, as a nation, we like to have a nice flag, and aren't we all cool? And we're all like kind of in this together, but still I'm going to do what I want. And you can't tell me what to do. And so here's a great big failure as a nation. 20 years, couple $1 trillion, and how many lives? So and now we're fighting over, can we wear a mask or not, which could negatively or positively impact my family, friends, and neighbors, and myself. Like, this is call it a sacrifice and do it. I call it a slight inconvenience. I'd rather not have my mask on, but I'd rather not anybody else I know get sick or die from COVID.
I don't know. I kind of like my mask. I don't know. I'm a little weird. I think I like it, and I think that it brings me some kind of security.
It's your superpowers, and I already know you're a superhero, and you just want the rest of the world to know, because that's why you got to put that mask on, so people know you're a superhero. Because without it, you're just, what is it? Clark Kent.
See that?
As opposed to, boom.
I support someone essential. And guess what? Everybody who is hanging out around me when I'm out, you're essential to me. I think that's just how I feel. And maybe it's because I'm a United States Navy veteran, and our job is to protect and serve, whatever capacity that is and whatever that looks like. And so if that means I need to wear a mask, then that's what I do. And I don't think that just because I'm fully vaccinated that, okay, I can just still walk around. Yeah. I still have a mask on. I do. Don't know how long I'll ever get out of that. And now that it's hit even further, for me to have a family member. I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 of my family members who've had COVID. My sister is a long hauler. And when I listen to her, I just cry when she tells me what her days look like. And just the fatigue, she said, is just unreal that she experiences from being a long hauler. And I just say, I wish you guys would I don't think there's anything that's just that important. So I guess that means we need to take away stop signs, stop lights. Let's see, what else do we need to take away? Let's take away insurance, and let's see how you feel about that. When your house catches on fire, or
take away the fire department. You got to just organize your neighbors if you think it's important. It's just
really, what is this? Really, what is this, and what is a shot? I said to someone the other day, you drink Coke. I drink Coke. I love Coke. I mean, if you drink Coke, you drink Pepsi, if you drink Mountain Dew, if you drink any of those, do you realize that you can put a battery, drop it in the Dead Sea, let it stay down there for 1,000 years. It's going to come up. It's going to be all rusted and corroded. And you can pour a Coke on top of it. And guess what? It'll burn all that off and make it look brand new. And you can drink that. Some of us may drink
a bit much.
Yeah.
I'll just say for myself, a bit much.
Just a bit much. Maybe your husband buys you a 2-liter at 12 o'clock, and by 12 o'clock the next day, you're like, can you go to the store for me? Like, for what? A Coke? That 2-liter is gone already. Well, what happened was, I'm just saying that you can put that inside of you, and it's okay. You can eat sushi. And guess what? If it's not prepared right, or if it stays out too long, you don't know the condition that it was in prior to you ordering it.
Well, and the thing there is, Dr. London and his team at the health department, they have standards. They're going to come in to work to ensure that sushi is safe. And you're going to say, hey, but this sushi only got up to 50 degrees. And they're going to say, that's good, but, and I'm making this up, folks, don't quote me, but it can't get warmer than 40 degrees, or you have to use it within 20 minutes and it's been sitting out for an hour. So you have to throw that away. And we want Dr. London to close unsafe restaurants. And we need him and his team to do all of these things that they do to keep us safe from things that are preventable, And so now it's like, really? We don't trust him. I mean, 2-3 years ago when PFAS was discovered, Dr. London and his team were on that faster than fast. They're providing bottled water. They're doing all they can for these folks, and now they want him fired. It's just really.
Guess what? Jesus and Barabbas. Give us Barabbas. Yeah, but he just healed your daughter. He raised your child up from the dead. Give us Barabbas. So they did it to Jesus. Hung him on the cross. They beat him all night long. Sold him for 30 pieces of silver. It's so I don't know. People are just different. All the good that you've done, and I guess, what is it that is just so important? Why do you think that people want to just smell your breath anyway? Did I say it out loud? I'm sorry. You know I'm handicapped. I didn't mean to say that.
I know.
It's like, whoo, I know what it is. That's it, Dave, though, because they don't want to have to smell their own breath in the mask. That's why they don't want to wear it. I kept trying to figure out, why don't you want to wear the mask? Well, yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know.
And my beloved wife, she just chews a lot of gum because she prefers not to smell her breath, and so she chews gum and she has an enjoyable time with her mask on. Minty Fresh sounds like a commercial for Eclipse Gum.
It does.
Another shameless plug for Eclipse Gum, who should be sponsoring this show because
I think they should. We talk about them an awful lot.
a little bit of gum. I like those curiously strong mints, Altoids, so
those are my favorite.
Another shameless plug for between Coca-Cola, Eclipse Gum, Altoids. Please sponsor us. I'm simply saying we're doing good work here. We need your sponsorships. We'll put your logo in the screen.
I'm telling you, here we go.
Brought to you by Coca-Cola. But folks, there are such easy ways to address many of the hassles related to mask wearing. Again, I'm not a fan of it. It just needs to be done. It's like here, again, we have example after example. When you're out driving, Dr. Kimberly, what prevents you from moving over to that left-hand lane and driving on that side instead of the right?
Oh, they have this line, a solid colored line.
A yellow line.
That lets me know I can't go over that line.
Keeps us safe. A tiny little yellow line. And we're all like, I'm on it. It's just a little bit of a mask. Help each other be safe.
They even come in colors.
I've seen purple ones. I've seen bedazzled ones. Don't know who would have such things. So it's just time to, folks, let's a month of mask wearing again. We bend the curve back down. I'm going to keep encouraging people to get vaccinated. Now that, as you pointed out already earlier in the show, it is 100% approved. It's not emergency approved. It's approved for real. Get vaccinated. Wear your mask. Let's bend this curve before the next variant comes along. Again, the good news is, I saw that people who are vaccinated who do get the Delta variant, because again, nothing's 100%, but the severity of their symptoms is way less. The hospitalization rates are way less. And back to you saying, take people's insurance away. Now we're going to talk real money, because in the good old days, insurance companies, health insurance companies could say, oh, you have a pre-existing condition. We're not going to cover that.
We're cover you.
And that's totally legal. But now it's like, oh, you chose not to get vaccinated. We're not going to cover your hospital stay. And they're going to be first in line screaming for reimbursement.
Yes. So, you know what? It is now 29 minutes and 10 seconds after the hour of 4. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Unfortunately, our guest today got kind of caught up with the zombies, and he's out hunting them. So they didn't let him get close to the camera. So he's out hunting zombies, and we're going to have him on at a later date. So we're asking Dave today. He had to, here we go, change his hat. Yeah, so we changed hats with Dave. As many of you know, he is a Kent County commissioner. He represents District 16. And so we're talking about, now that the FDA has approved the Pfizer vaccine. It's fully vetted now. It is no longer being used in an emergent situation, but it's a full vaccine. The mandate. Now, the question that I would like to pose is what's going to happen now that it's real, it's full. How many lawsuits do you think are going to be out there when you get ready to come back to work and they say, hey, have you been vaccinated? No. Well, I'm sorry, you can't come back until you're fully vaccinated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting because many hospitals are now requiring it. Other employers are requiring vaccinations. Again, you have to be vaccinated against a lot of things. We've mentioned it in past shows that it was 36 years ago. 36 years ago. I had the opportunity to travel to India, and I had to have a vaccine passport to prove to the people of India that I was vaccinated against a bunch of diseases, and then to prove to the people of Europe when I went back to where I was living that, yes, I was vaccinated, so I didn't bring anything back from India. So, these things are just standard parts of life in the world, life in a neighborhood. And then now they've just become so politicized. And I don't want to sound political by calling them politicized, but it's like, folks, how do we really work together and talk about what is the best thing to do other than nothing?
I don't know, but I think that we may need to call our resident attorney, T.E. Smith of SAG Law. Shameless plug for SAG Law. They are in Michigan. They are licensed here in Michigan and in Illinois. Yep. And I do believe that they're moving to 2 more states. I think that's awesome. And I believe they're going to have a big fight on their hands. People are going to have to come back into work, and they're going to say, I'm sorry, you can't come back unless you're vaccinated. You're going to be in close proximity with people. They're going to be coughing. And I'm sorry, yes, hello. Did Fred makes the coffee. Did Fred get vaccinated? And I saw him coughing. Can you imagine? That's going to be so gross. I don't want Fred to make the coffee. But you know what? Guess what? I guess they can have these little 100 Shades of Disability sanitizers.
Keeping it as safe as possible, folks. That's all we want to do.
Did he put some gloves on first? Because we got gloves in the packs too. We got some gloves, we got spray and gel, and we have some wipes. So I'm gonna need you to wipe and clean, and because he didn't get vaccinated. I think that's going to be really interesting. When you have a human resources, I'm really glad that everybody listens to Pastor Dave at Disability Advocates of King County.
We try. Again, it's back to, how do we, our team started going back out doing home assessments a year ago, May, because we wanted to help people stay safe and independent in their own homes. They started masking up before there was a vaccine. They made sure, that people passed the protocols. They weren't feeling sick. They hadn't been around anybody. They didn't travel. And the good news is, knock on wood, that none of our team has had, COVID from a client, or we haven't passed it on to a client. I mean, even when I had the COVID last November, I didn't pass it on to anybody in the office because we kept our distance. We masked up.
He just gave it to his wife. That's all.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Love and marriage. Love and marriage.
Exactly. And so people say masks, masks don't work. Well, they worked last November because I had the COVID for 2 days in the office before I, actually 3 days in the office before my symptoms got terrible. And I, then stayed home for 2 weeks. But this idea that, again, folks, nothing's 100%. If you're like 100% or I'm not doing it, then we're doomed as a community. It's one of those all of the above: wash hands, wear a mask, get vaccinated, keep distance as best you can. It's just, and continue to support local businesses. Please do. 100 Shades of Disability, local restaurants, get takeout if you don't want to eat in, all of these good things. Plenty out there. So yeah, let's have the conversations. If you're live, hopefully I think it'll be live streamed Thursday mornings, Kent County Commission meeting. There's going to be a lot of people there telling us what to do, both sides of the issue. So let us know, and or watch it, I should say. Still let us know. My county commission email address is on that website, and I'm not afraid to hear what people's opinions are. Yeah, that's how we're going to move forward as a community.
But I do have a question for the county commissioner. Do you get to express your opinion? Do you get to say, hello, my name is Dave, and I had COVID, like at an NA meeting. Hello, my name is Dave, and I had COVID. I know what it's like, and I still got a vaccine, and I still mask up. Do you ever get an opportunity to talk about it? I mean, because we talked almost every other day in between being ravished with a fever and feeling sick and just everything that you experienced. It's like every day, you okay? What I need to do? Do I need, how can I assist? How can I help you, and your wife? And I mean, we stayed in constant contact those 2 weeks, and I felt bad. But is there a time where you get an opportunity to share your experience and you say, can you take a stance as a county commissioner?
Yes. Yep.
You need to mask up. You need to get vaccinated, because it was my experience.
Yep. I mean, sometime on the weekend, I did share Dr. London's presentation of last Friday when he said, we're going to have a universal mask mandate for pre-K through 6th grade in Kent County. He had a joint, declaration with Ottawa County, so like seeing it from a regional perspective. And then I forwarded that simply, and I said, folks, it's time to mask up and get vaccinated. Let's knock this thing out. At Thursday's commission meeting, it's going to be rambunctious. Speaking of mayhem, and I'm looking forward to that opportunity to again say, based on the advice we've consistently gotten from Dr. Fauci and the CDC, which is do everything you can to prevent the spread. Yeah. And now from our most local and trusted team, because it's not, Dr. London made the decision. He's not hiding behind that. It's his signature on the order. Mm-hmm. But we know him. He works collaboratively with not only his team, but other regional healthcare administrators. So I trust his opinion. Let's get it done. So I'm going to keep saying that with all of my hats. We're going to keep wearing masks here at Disability Advocates, because when people come for our assistance, we don't know if people are immunocompromised. We don't know, again, I saw a post on Facebook from a friend who's, again, implored people to wear a mask, because if you temporarily able-bodied think, hey, it's not going to be a big deal, and I go to the hospital, it's going to stink for a week or two. But then he said, my wife, if she gets COVID, it is a death sentence. And so again, this imploring our family, friends, and neighbors to just, again, it is inconvenient. I am not trying to sugarcoat the mask. Even with gum, it is inconvenient. But it's the right thing to do as a community. That is my I don't want to scream at anybody. I just want to simply say, like, weighing the facts on both sides, this is just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Because there's people screaming, saying that, like, even continue to go out in the community, sending kids back to college, just that these are just wrong things to do. So, there's people on all spectrums. I still think in the middle is the majority of the opinions: vaccinate and mask up.
I agree. Well, wow, the time went by very quickly. Who says we can't talk for 45 minutes?
It wasn't me.
I think that it's like people are always like, the show was an hour, so we're trying to set ourselves up for being, mainstream, where you gotta have commercials. So if you actually watch a 1 hour Ellen DeGeneres show, did you see that? We gave you a shout out, Ellen. But
another sponsor we should have.
I agree that you only get actually 45 minutes of programming because they have to salt in some commercials. So you guys get 45 minutes of straight good information. We're excited on tomorrow. Our guest will be Mr. Reginald Farrier. He is a Kent County Veterans Service Officer. So if you have a pending VA case or you need some questions concerning, can I get benefits? Can I file? Is this service connected? We can answer all of those questions on tomorrow for you, or at least address them and have the conversation. So I'm really excited about that. Yes.
Awesome.
That we have a service officer coming on tomorrow, a VA service officer. Yay! And we want to say thank you so much to the Deaf or Hard of Hearing for rolling with us. Man, they've done a fantastic job. And can you believe it, Dave? It has now been it's been 17, 18 months now.
I still, again, it was like yesterday we had that conversation because I was sitting frustrated in my living room saying, Dr. Kimberly, we got to do something. And here we are still doing it.
Still doing it. That we do. Yeah. And we
Thank you, Dr. Kimberly, for continuing to do that, continuing to move our community forward, saying, let's do it, folks. The investments that you continue to make with your time, talent, and treasure all around our community and even the nation. So today we were just in Grand Rapids and Byron Center and a little bit of Holland with Beth, but other times, from Atlanta to Maryland to California, Florida, the Upper Peninsula. So, Dr. Kimberly, your leadership continues to impact, and it's not an exaggeration, coast to coast. And so thanks for what you do.
Excited though. Got a couple from New Jersey who just sent their second book to me that they've written. Because they participated in the iPad program that 100 Shades of Disability does. And I was just excited to see the book. And of course, the inscription on the inside. And so we're trying to make a difference. And I'm glad that, we did this. It's 3 days a week. And people say, so do you record? No, we come to you live 3 days a week. We talk about what's in the headline news and sometimes what's not in the headline news. But definitely giving you good information and those who are able to answer your questions and get you the information and resources that you need. And I definitely want to give a shout out to the Fords today. I am so godly proud of you guys. Thank you. To see that, it makes everything that we do here worthwhile. And you can purchase that book on Amazon. Yes. You can purchase the book.
Awesome stuff. Look for those links, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.